Yo, what's up, guys? I'm gonna continue from where I left off. I also want to say that I do not quite remember where I left off, and I want to make another thing clear before I start. That yes, I have the first, second, and yeah, just the first and second Hokage and the village, because the third Hokage is still alive and in the leaf, and Minato is also still alive, and obviously Kakashi isn't dead. He hasn't become Hokage yet either. Nor has Tsunade. But Tsunade and Jiraiya know about our village and has been to the village and met with me. And when he met with me in the village, he promised me, along with Tsunade, not to let Minato know about my village. And if you can hear like this wind sound or the TV, it's the air conditioner and like the TV, because if you hear someone else other than me talking, it's the TV. I'm gonna turn down the TV song so that to where I can still hear it, but like it doesn't get in the way of the Texas story. I said Texas story. In the way of the video. I was supposed to post Killua Tanjiro. I said Killua, damn. I was supposed to post the OP Betrayed Tanjiro video, but I didn't have it finished. I'll admit to that, because I had stuff to do yesterday. And so I was gonna just post this, and I was gonna post two Killua. I'm sorry, I have not been able to think straight for a while. But yeah, I'll post two Tanjiro videos. Well, I'll try to. I don't want to say I will, but I'll try to post two Tanjiro videos next week. I'll also try to have I'll try to have the Killua not Killua. What if Jiraiya and Tsunade race Naruto Part 2 and 3 out? But as I said, I know for a fact I'll have about the next part, OP Betrayed Tanjiro. But I don't know for a fact how many parts I'll put out. Just like for the Naruto video I just said, I do not know if I'm gonna put out just the second part or the second and third part, because I'm just starting back on that series and I have ideas for it. And I'm also doing Killua Naruto along with Killua Deku on the side, and I'm also try to do the Attack on Titan. What if Kirito was in Attack on Titan? Because I had never finished that. I went back and I was checking on my videos, just like my Asta video, but that's gonna have to wait till I go back and rewatch Black Clover again. But that's enough of me aimlessly rambling on. So we'll start this part off to where. Hold up, give me a second. I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb. Alright, I'm back. So, as I was saying, I want to start around where I was at last time. But I do know that I will be starting around. Because, so basically, where I'm going to start is that, my bad, if you just heard that loud exhale, bro. It was because I yawned and was trying not to burp. But that's besides the point. So, as I said, we'll start back. Sorry about the noise, I was moving something. I just need to focus. Alright, I'm locked in. So we start back where me and Itachi is walking around the village. And I'm looking for Madara, who would just suddenly show up and he'd go. So the guy and the other guy you brought to the village has went through the session of my questions and me seeing what rank they belong to be in the village, and they both made it to Chuni. And I looked at him and I said, "That's great. So, what about me and Itachi?" He'd say, "Well, you two are above Chuni. You're even low to mid I'd say you're low to mid Jonin, but you're still children and you don't have that much battle experience. Sure, you've beaten Zabuza and Haku, but there are stronger and more capable ninja out there." And I'd look and I'd say, "Now name one village that can take on our village, the village of the Forgotten." And by the way, that is the name, the village of the Forgotten. And I changed something about our village. It floats in the air because used air to like it doesn't float that high up. Like there's a gust of wind in a certain area that's hidden for most people if you don't know about it. And even if you follow one of us to it, if you don't know it's there, you won't believe it. And if you try to use it and you don't, like, you might have, alright, so say you're following, someone was following me and Itachi. We went, and then a gust of wind shot us into the air. You wouldn't believe, like, oh my god, what just happened? They dead. Like, you'd go, and they'd try to do it, but nothing will happen. And that's because if there's not a certain chakra signature, that's why Madara takes everyone. He lets them put a bit of their chakra into the seal, so once they try to get into the village again, it just takes them to the village. So to most people, it either looks like they got shot with wind, like a wind blast, a wind bullet. But besides the point, he would say, "So I have a special mission for you guys." And I'd look at Itachi, and Itachi would look at me, and I'd smirk. I'd say, "So what is it?" And he'd say, "It's an infiltration mission. I need you to infiltrate a certain village that you two currently are banished from, but I need you to take something from it." And I'd look at him with a kind of confused face until he'd say, "Banished from." And I'd get a smirk and I'd say, "So you want us to take your weapon, your two weapons and Hashirama's weapon back from the village?" And he'd say, "Yes, we need those." Sorry about that. My voice kind of dropped. I don't know what just happened. It wasn't a voice crack, but like my voice dropped like that. But he'd say, "Yes, we need those back." And I'd say, "Okay, I'll go and we'll fetch them." And he'd say, "Also, don't get caught." And I'd say, "Even if we did get caught, no one would believe that we were capable enough to defeat the Hokage if he tries to get in our way." And Madara would think about it, and he kind of smirked. He'd say, "Well, don't come back." He'd say, "Well, you two better come back within this time." And he'd tap both of our on the back of our hands, and it'd be like this type of seal, and it'd be counting down by the second. And he'd say, "I've given you 24 hours. That is how long it should take you to return back here." And I'd say, "But it doesn't even take us that long to get to the village." And he'd say, "That's because they've hidden our weapons somewhere that's not in the village. You just need to figure out where they are." And me and Itachi would look at each other and put on a glove. Me putting the glove over the counter that's on my right hand, and his is on his left hand, so he put a glove over his left hand. And in this, he's left-handed because I'm obviously right-handed. I mean, even though in the picture it only shows the glove on my left hand, let's say I'm wearing fingerless gloves. So like the glove is only on my palm of my hand and on the back of my palm. Like my fingers are still sticking out. And I'd say, okay, let's do this. And I'd look at Itachi, who'd look at me, and we'd both body flicker. And since we've already been to the leaf, we'd body flicker directly into the leaf village. And I'd cloak us in invisibility. And we'd be walking around the village. When all of a sudden, I'd see someone talking about weapons, and I'd say, isn't that one of the girls from our class? And he'd go, I think it is. What was her name? Tintin? And I'd go, it might be. I heard she was talking about Madara's weapon. So let's go ask her, does she know about it? And we'd both put on masks that would change our identity and our chakra natures and stuff. Alright, so basically, you know how some people can identify ninja by their chakra signatures? Yeah, it changed our chakra signatures, and it also changed like how we look. So I'd no longer look like how I look like in the picture, but I am wearing this outfit. My eyes are blue, and I have a greenish color hair. And Itachi's would have turned blackish red with orangish peach eyes. And he'd be slim. We'd keep our figure, but like, you know, different color hair and hairstyle, different eye color. We'd have different, like our voice would sound different also, and our chakra signature would be different. The only thing that stayed the same was our body type, which most ninja look. They don't look alike, but like their body type is alike. So that didn't really matter too much. We'd walk into her shop, and I'd say, I heard you was talking about the such and such weapon. And she'd say, yeah, the legendary Uchiha Madara's weapon. I heard that it's in a place, but supposedly only Madara or someone Madara sent to fetch it can take that weapon and remove it. And Hashirama's weapon, why the hell did I say that? Hashirama's weapon is also there. And his weapon is like the same, but you have to have some type of mark on your hand to remove his weapon. And I'd remember the timers on our hand, and I'd say, I use telepathy, and I think to Itachi, I'd say, so that's why he put this marking on our hands. It's actually to deactivate the seal that's on their weapons. So once we grab them, you know, it wouldn't cause whatever it would cause if we grabbed it without the seals. And he'd nod, and I'd ask for the location. And she'd say, well, there's a tournament that's going on in this village, and people fight for it. And basically, if you don't have, like the mark or whatever, which most people try and fake the mark, then you can't participate. But it's in this village, and she'd give us a map. And I'd say, and what would happen to those who doesn't have the mark, who tries to take the weapon if they win the tournament? And she'd go, well, it starts sapping away their chakra, and then it'd shoot a blast at them using their chakra that it stole from them. at them, and if they die from that blast, it absorbs all of the chakra that's trying to leave their body. And until this day, there has been no one who was successfully able to take their weapons. And I'd smile. I'd say thank you. And I think to myself, not using telepathy, I'd say she was the only one who wasn't a bitch to us. And I'd look at Tachi, and I'd nod at him, and he'd nod too, and we both body flip. And then all of a sudden, Minato would come inside the shop, and he'd go, "Did you see?" He'd say, "Did you see that brat?" And she'd be like, "Sir Hokage, what brat are you talking about?" And he'd be like, "Don't lie to me. I sensed his and Itachi's chakra." And the Anbu would also come in, and they'd start looking and notice that they're not there. Well, we're not there. And that's because me and Itachi teleported back to the village, well, close to our like where we use our village's wing system to fly us up to the village. And by the way, our village is above the clouds a bit, and it's covered in mist. So even if you were able to come up that high and look for it, you wouldn't be able to see it because it just looked like a lump on top of the cloud. And yes, I mean, no, it's not hard for us to breathe like normal because no, we're in the either space, and no, we're not in the spot where we're leaving the ozone layer, so we're fine. Actually, no, we're just like inside of a cloud, and I use the wind barrier around it to make it to where like we don't get suffocated by clouds. And on top of us, like the sun, we can still see the sun. Yeah. And no, it's not hotter up there because I use cooling magic to keep it at a normal rate, so it just feels normal. And so Madara would be waiting notice that we came back, and he'd say, "You got the weapons already?" And I'd explain to him, "No, we're on the way there." And I'd say, "You knew about this thing, so we need those marks." And he placed another mark on our other hand, which he'd place another mark on our hand, but this time on the palm of our hands. And I'd put my glove back on, and so would Itachi. And we both dashed. Well, we're about to dash when Madara would say, "Izuku, he'd say, "Itachi, since you're going to be the one to grab my weapons, and I have two of them, come here." And he'd put another seal on his other hand, and he'd say, "Use this hand to grab the sight, or using this one to grab the..." I ain't even lie to you, I cannot remember. But all I remember is that he can use it to reflect, like to absorb attacks, and then swing them back at you. Well, not like swing the attack back at you, but like if he hits you with his thing, he can use it to reflect it, or he could just, whenever you hit his shield, he'll absorb it, and then he'll send it out by saying reflect, and it'll be 2 times stronger. But as I said, it's been about how long since I watched Naruto? It's been a while. Okay.
As you guys can see, I have all my mobile device. I'm scrolling up and down. By the way, sneak peek on a future video. Realistic mansion tycoon. It's gonna be sick. But let's click Brookhaven RP. And this is literally my first time playing on mobile. Well, first video on mobile because I'm enjoying mobile, but I've never really like
Sorry
played
about
video.
that. I was
So
lost
this is
in
my first
thought
time recording.
about something
I'm basically
else. It
living the
was like
life
a
y'all
different
living
video
by going to
idea that
letting
I
you
was gonna
guys
do.
play on mobile. You know what? Only mobile users can
And
hit the like
so
button on this video. So if you play on mobile, hit the like button right now. Subscribe if you guys are new and click that notification bell to
sorry
become
about
part of the
that. So
culture. Gang,
we
let's get it.
dash off,
Oh my gosh,
and
this
I'd
is
look at
so
Itachi
different.
while we were dashing through the
Why
trees,
am I this dude? Let me
and
do
I'd
this
say,
first
"Yo,
try.
Itachi,
There
what did
you
he
go.
tell you?"
Oh my gosh, it's
And
so
he'd say,
weird
"Well,
playing
he
on
said
mobile.
there's a
Like if you
secret
guys
to
seeing
lifting
a
up
mobile
his
game on my
weapons,
channel, let me
or
just
you
make
could
it mad because
just
I'm already playing on
grab
mobile
Hashirama's
and
blade
my
and
cat is
just seal
literally
it into a
meowing.
scroll."
You
But
hear
he'd
my
say,
cat
"But
meowing
as for
all
his
night.
weapons,
Dude,
once
I
you
don't know
try
why
and
my
seal
cat's
them,
meowing
make
so
sure you
much.
put
He
it
must
in
be
like where
hungry
the
or something.
hilt
I'm not
goes in
sure. You know
last."
when cats are
Which
hungry, they're hungry.
I was
All right,
gonna do,
guys. So
but
this
then
this
he
is
said,
mobile.
"But make sure you
Who's
place
this?
them in at the same
All
time,
right.
because if you
Miss
don't,
Mark. She's
and the
dressed
scythe
big. Oh my gosh!
realizes
Don't
that
tell me this is an
the
otter.
other
Don't tell me this
weapon
is an otter.
that I was
Okay, yeah,
just
he's
talking
cool.
about
Is this a fan?
disappeared from it,
Please
it'll
be a
slice
fan.
and
Please be
attack
a fan.
anything
Oh
that
my gosh!
absorbed it,
This is an otter.
and it'll try
All
and
playing
take
on mobile.
it out
This is
of
like the
wherever it
first
is, and
time
it will
encounter.
literally bring it back.
Please, I'm gonna say
And so
question
he'd
mark.
say, place both of them in face down,
What does she
where the
want, guys?
blade
She
part
just turned
of the
big. You wanna
scythe
hang
is at,
out?
and make sure you put the hilts into
No.
the scrolls last.
I'm so mean. I'm so mean. What did she say? She just left. She's going on to the next guy. I already know an otter when I see one. Like I already know it. Alright, I'm
And
like I don't even know how to control
my
this. Let
bad,
me
I
like
keep
pull up
thinking on
a
this what if that I
car.
was
What car
gonna
should I
do,
pull up?
and
Let's
I
pull
was
out
thinking about doing it,
let's pull
but
out
I
a
don't know if I want to
convertible.
do it as a
Let's
texting
go.
story or as
What should
a
I do on mobile?
like
I
a
didn't really
vocalized
think
video.
about what I
But
should
I'm
do in this
thinking on
video. I'm
doing it
just
as a
literally
texting story, but
obligated
I'm
to
not too sure
upload
yet.
a mobile gameplay on my channel for the
But
first time in a
continuing
long time.
on,
I uploaded
we'd
one genre
arrive at the
video,
location and
but
it'd just be
not
like
a
this
video
brawl
yet.
that's
Ooh,
gonna
yo,
happen.
you're
It's
watching
this
like Rob
fighting
the
tournament
Paint.
that's going on.
Is she trying to steal my car? I'm gonna lock it. There you go. You trying to steal my
And
car? No, I'm
me and
not
him would
taking you
sign
on a
up
date.
under our real names because the other villagers don't even know like they think we're dead by now.
Please. No.
And when we signed in under those names,
Oh my
people would
gosh.
go,
Leave me alone.
they're trying to pretend to be Itachi
Let's head
Uchiha.
over here and let's
And,
get one of these key cards,
and
guys.
crap.
She's so desperate. Let's
If
get these key
I
cards and
changed
let's
my
go over
name to
here. When you
Yuzuki, right?
rob the bank, oh, I forgot to do
Then I
something.
changed. I
You know,
cannot remember.
when you rob a bank, you have to conceal your
If I
identity.
didn't,
So
I'm
let's
saying
make
I
sure
did
no
now,
one knows
cause
who I am.
yeah,
There you go. Perfect.
I
Y'all know that
changed
was
my
me.
name to
AIZ.
Yuzuku
Alright, let's
Fukuzoda.
pull out a bag.
And if I
Or
didn't,
not
I
pull
did
out a
now,
bag. Let's
because I
put a
swear to
ball
you, I
cap in my
cannot
bag.
remember
And
for
let's
the
blow
life of
this
me.
thing up. Hey, I'm supposed to be blowing this up. Get away from me. You better not take my money, punk. I can't get it. I suck at mobile. I can't get it. Hey! Hey! What the? Are you sick? You'd be like, bro! Yo! That's mine! Oh my god, I suck at mobile. You just robbed me. Like, I'm supposed to be the one robbing the bank, not you. Yo, everyone comment down below an L right now because I'm mad. I'm mad. You just gave me an L. Wait, why is
Why
the
do I
water
keep
like
stopping
why is
in this
the water
video?
blue?
I
I can't even see
apologize.
through. I see water on sea water. You can see through. Are you telling me mobile players, if you hide in the water, they're not even know you're in here?
So
It's not cheap code.
back to what I was
Guys,
saying.
mobile players, you just jump in water. And then they
When
know
we'd
you're in.
arrive, we'd sign up, and people would be thinking like, "Oh, he's just like some fake that has their name. Or it's just someone who's trying to be intimidating by having their names." And I'd look at Itachi, and I'd place on a mask that kind of resembles Kaneki's mask. And the only difference is that like it has a part that blocks my eyes, but like you can see both of my eyes, but like it covers my whole face, and the rest of it is exactly like Kaneki's. And the only other difference is instead of like having an eye patch, Okay, so my bad. Think like this, right? You take a face mask, like you see Kaneki's leather face mask, right? How it only goes to his nose and then around his throat and back, right?
If I could tell you one thing,
All right, so
it's that
then
these are
from the
the
nose, go
first
up
time
and around the eyes, and then cover the face, like just the face, and then like leave the eyes visible. That's exactly how my mask is made. It's just a bootleg Kaneki mask, right?
Right. There you go. Boom.
And the reason why this is, and I'm not actually like having like an actual Kaneki mask here, is because I would. Alright, you're gonna see how I get like the actual Kaneki mask because it happens during this tournament. But don't I'll explain. So as I said, the mask, and I wouldn't like it, but like when I got the mask, I'd be confused on how it had gotten there, and when it had arrived to me, I thought, who gave me this? I know Kaneki did because he still has his mask.
Here you go.
Was this a mask that I was supposed to get?
Paycheck. Yay. Can I be your bodyguard? Yes. Take the money. This is your paycheck. You got to guard me with your life. I'm gonna say, so if somebody attacks me,
And I'd walk up, and it'd be like my turn to fight.
I'm gonna say,
And Itachi would be on the sidelines just wearing a normal Ambu mask. And everyone would be confused at my mask that I have on.
Take the job serious. He said, okay. Oh, whoa, whoa. Whoa, don't shoot me. He just shot me. I'm gonna say nice. But next
And
time, don't shoot.
I'd walk on stage, and the guy would grab,
I put an L. LOL. He
and
said,
the guy would come up with a
all right,
katana. And I'd say, so you also use a katana? And he'd say, little boys, I know you're pretending to be the guy that supposedly died and all, but if you didn't know, he was worthless in his village. So, if you also didn't know this, he couldn't fight with a blade. And when he did fight, his fighting style wasn't any type of taijutsu that was known to us. And I'd say, oh, you want to see me use it in action? And the guy would say, begin, and he'd slice at my head, and he'd say, too bad you won't be able to show me. And my mask would be cut, and it'd be only the part that Kaneki has left. And I'd catch the part that would fall off, and I'd burn it. Like it wouldn't, I wouldn't show them, but like I'd squeeze it into my hand in a ball, and it'd burn. And I'd put on the eye patch, and I'd say, "Now this reminds me of." And then I'd place my hood back on over my head because I didn't have it on when the match started.
Take care of her.
And he'd be shocked that I dashed his slice. I said dashed. I dodged his slice.
KK, when she comes back,
And he'd say, how did you dodge that? And I'd say, no. When are you gonna notice that you have a hole in your chest? And he'd say, what do you mean? And then he'd kind of fall to the ground, and his eyes would, like his vision would turn blurry.
He's not letting anyone in. Well,
And
they can kind of get in through the back door. So, hopefully no one gets in through the back door.
And once he noticed that, like, his vision had became blurry.
I'm gonna say, let's head back. We gotta head back to your boy's mansion. Let's go.
And
hopefully
he'd
Stalker's
be
not there.
confused.
Let's see
And-
there. She was.
And
my
he'd
gosh,
go,
she's coming back, guys.
shut up,
Literally
in a
stop.
kind of shakily voice.
Posted up on top of the
And
sign.
he'd get up, and his body obviously not being able to take any more hits.
I'm gonna say, okay, thanks. Alright, guys. Skating outside.
And I'd say, I'd crouch down to his height while he's trying to get up.
In case that crazy girl comes
and he'd look at me and he'd punch, and I'd just take it. Like the punch would hit me dead in my forehead, and I'd just take the punch. I'd say, "Did that make you feel better?" I'd say, "Because if it did, I congratulate you for lasting this long with that wound. So I'll ask you to give up so I can heal you, or you can die here, and I win either way." And he'd say, "Shut up." He'd say, "Shut up, you bitch." And he'd punch me again. And I'd spit out a bit of blood. And I'd say, "There, are you done yet?" And again, he'd start punching and punching. And then he'd stand up fully and he'd kick. But I'd block the kick and I'd say, "I guess you want to play with your legs, huh? Well, let me show you how to actually use them." And I'd kick him and he'd go flying out of the ring. And they'd notice that his body's the only thing that's there. And I'd say that's because he doesn't have a head. And I'd pull his head out of a scroll that I had sealed in it. And
to get struck by lightning. Alright, so he's heading
And
inside. Alright, I would say
everyone would be
smooth, last
like
night,
confused as hell. They'd be like, "What the heck? What?"
was smooth last night.
And I'd I'd take off my hood and they'd notice my hair and my red eyes. And they'd say, "It really is him." And then they'd look at Itachi, who had his Sharingan activated, and they'd say, "It's them. They weren't lying. It's those two that got banished from Konoha." And I'd say, "We're just here to collect the weapons. We're not here to kill anyone." And I'd say, "Ingo." And the guy's body that was already there, I would have had already burned it. Sorry, I'm very tired. I haven't been very much sleeping. But I'm not saying like, oh, it's just because I'm trying to post as many videos as I can, but I legit just haven't been like sleeping for it. Because I've had some stuff to do. As I said, like, I'm pretty sure I let you guys know in like either a texture story or a vocalized story, but I had things that I had to do for school. And I'm almost done with it. And also I'm helping out the soccer team at my school. But I'd look, my bad, and let me continue so I don't confuse you by just starting back. And I'd continue by saying, "So guy, do you give up? Because I don't want to have to kill you again." And he'd kind of look at me. He'd say, "You killed me?" And he'd see my hair. And he'd see my eyes. And he'd also see Itachi. And he'd say, "Stop lying, you damn brat!" And he'd start punching at me repeatedly. And I'd just be repeatedly dodging with my hands in my pockets. And he'd kick at me, which I'd duck under, but he'd throw another kick right after. And it hit me in my chest, and I'd fall backwards, close to going out of the ring. And I'd land on my back with my head kind of hanging over the edge. And then I'd look back up at him and I'd say, "Please just give up. I really don't want to have to kill you, like, permanently." And I'd dash at him and headbutt him in the stomach, and he'd fall. And he'd almost go out of the ring, but he'd use his arm strength. Like he'd use his hand and he'd stab his fingers into the ground, slowing down like his slowing down him going out of the ring, and he'd stop himself right at the edge, like one of his feet are almost out of the ring, and he'd pull himself back into the ring, and he'd dash at me, and I'd just be dodging, and he'd say, "You're very agile for being a useless brat," and I'd say, "And you're very slow. I killed you. I could have killed you 400 times now. You do realize this." And he'd scream, "Stop lying!" And he'd say, "I'll kill you!" And he'd throw a punch, and I'd counter it by grabbing his arm. I'd flip him upside down, and then I'd punch him in the back. And he'd go up into the air, but I'd jump over him, and I'd come down with an axe kick, and I'd slam my leg into his chest, and it'd cause a big dust cloud. And then they'd hear punch after punch after punch. And then they'd see Itachi dash into the smoke, and they'd see him walk out of the ring holding me over his shoulder. And I'd be yelling at him, "Let me go. He didn't want to give up, so I'm not going to let him give up. I'm not going to allow him a quick and painless death." And the guy would come out of the ring screaming, "I quit, I quit," with a terrified voice, and he'd be terrified. And he'd dash out of the ring, and he'd fall off the cliff that was right there. And he taught one of the ninja who was watching over the match, who was enjoying the fight when the other guy was winning before I started beating his face in. And he'd jump down, catch him, and he'd put him back down, and he'd knock him unconscious and just lay him on one of the logs that was there, and he'd say that I won, and he'd tell Itachi to come up, and he'd put him up against another Uchiha, but Itachi would know this Uchiha, this sudden Uchiha that had went missing when the Rogue Nin, by the way, Orochimaru is not a Rogue Nin, but like he's so close under Minato that he would not lie to Minato. So yeah, and also and since Hiruzen is still his master, he's still close with Hiruzen, and he'd never like started experimenting on people, but he did experiment on this one Uchiha who became his disciple. And then he also had another disciple, which was Anko. And but that's for another time. So I'd know this Uchiha, and I was gonna jump into the ring and kick his head off, like it wasn't gonna be no talking or nothing. I was just gonna kick his head off and take his eyes and give them to Itachi. But Itachi said no, I'll do it myself. And the reason Itachi said this is because there was originally a third son to the Fugaku and Fugaku and Mikato's family, and he was killed by the guy that's in front of us. And the guy who noticed Itachi would smirk. He'd say, "So you ready to die like your brother?" And he tried to come and take these weapons from me. And Itachi would say, "So this would mean that this isn't your first time being here. So that means either you kept losing, or you won and couldn't successfully take the weapons." And this would piss the Uchiha off. And everyone there would say, "Did he just make Sasuke mad?" Not like, no, I don't mean Hayase Sasuke, aka Ken Kaneki, but like his name is Sasuke Uchiha. No, actually, Tatsumi Uchiha. Tatsumi Uchiha. And again, no, I do not mean from damn, what was it? Why the hell I mean, I know it's been a couple years, but Akame got killed. No, I do not mean that Tatsumi. I said Tatsumi. Damn. Yeah. All right, whatever. His name is Tatsumi. That's the end of it. All right, and the guy, he'd look at him, and Itachi and him would be staring each other down. Neither of them moving for a solid 20 minutes. And this whole time, Itachi's just sitting there. He's like, I'm going to kill him. He's gonna kill me. But it doesn't matter if I die. I'll come back next to Zuko. And Zuko knows that I want to kill him. He won't attack him. And then I look at Itachi and I notice these people and I said, Itachi, he said go. And as soon as he heard the words go out of my mouth, he dashed. And this would catch Sakura. This would catch Tatsumi off guard, but he put his guard up only to get slashed where his arm, like he'd get slashed right where his okay, so he put his arms in front of his chest, and the part where his arms go in front of his chest at, in the X type of formation, it'd have a line straight across it, and then 4 more cuts would appear on his arms. And then he'd get kicked back, but he backflipped and ran, and he dashed at Itachi, also drawing his kunai. But Itachi would throw his kunai at him, and the guy would dodge it, but Itachi would show up behind him, catching that and using the kunai shadow jutsu, the shadow kunai jutsu, and throw it at him. And he dodged one, he dodged one of them, and sliced at the other 2. He sliced at 2 of them, which would poof into smoke. And he noticed one didn't come, so he also had hit that one too. But in truth, Itachi was above him, holding the 3rd one, which he never released. Well, the 4th one, which he never released. And he'd throw it from the top. And the guy who had just activated his Sharingan looking for Itachi would sense the malice. But he wouldn't sense the kunai because he never put chakra into the kunai. But then all of a sudden he jumped out of the way because Itachi would come from under him, which would be a shadow clone, which would catch the kunai, and the guy who had just jumped backwards would be shocked because he didn't sense the kunai, and he just confused on why Itachi didn't just let the kunai hit him. But Itachi would throw the kunai, and the shadow clone would poof, and he dodged the kunai, it being visible to him, and he'd catch the kunai, which would poof, and it'd be a rock. And then all of a sudden, that rock would change from a rock to a that rock would turn, that kunai that he had caught would poof, and it turned into
there is also a high probability of turning into a new weapon. Seeing this, he began to sharpen his weapon.
Alright, I'm gonna just say it was it was a paper bomb. It turned into a paper bomb that would wrap around his thumb. And it blew up. Like he used the substitution jutsu. And he'd substitute with the rock that was on the stand. Because as I said, I don't wait. Yes.
Seeing one of the trees he thought it looked pretty sturdy, so he would use it.
But Tachi had been prepared,
and for this he received the achievement Lumberjack. And he was given a hint that if he cut down 100 trees, he would get the title of
Tachi has the
and get the divine skill of a landscape designer. And
he has the Mangekyo
he could dig into any tree and transplant it. If he plants it correctly, it will bloom again.
Or he's just gonna have to train hella
she
hard.
abandoned this venture.
And then this one, Shizu also joined my village
He dragged the tree to his
we need a
location
3rd member, and
he gained the skill of a divine level foundry master. As a
the leaf
foundry master,
up in the leaf, Donzo was gonna take Shisui's eye, but I just kind of told that man to cut that bullshit out. I just kind of kicked him instead of clawing. And then I grabbed Shisui and disappeared. Him not knowing who the fuck just attacked him out of nowhere. Just confused. And Madara, who had told Shisui that me and Itachi was going on a mission to retrieve his weapons, Shisui would say, how many other people would be like trying to get his weapons? And he'd say, well, if there's another Uchiha there, then they could possibly get the weapons if they kill Itachi. And Shisui, knowing how Itachi gets when it came down to his family, it was dash in the direction of the fight. So this fight has been going on for about 30 minutes now. And Itachi was had the upper hand, but he was kind of being and he'd be kind of like getting kind of tired. He wasn't hella tired.
He breathed a sigh of relief that he was now in a safe place and praised himself for having prepared everything in advance. For lighting the fire,
And
he received the achievement of fire
Shisui
extraction.
appeared
In the
there
tablet
next
it was
to
written that if the
and I
fire
said,
will illuminate
Yes,
for more than 10
I
minutes,
guess you
he
heard
can
from
get the
Madara
title of Lord of
about
Fire. And he was
he'd say,
instructed
yeah,
to
so
learn
why
the
didn't
fire
you kill
control
this
skill,
guy?
divine skill,
And I'd say,
fire
because
is
Itachi
in his
said
body.
that
He
he
can
was
use fire
goddess.
magic, and his
And when
strength will
Itachi
depend on the
has
amount of
something on his mind,
Zuchun was glad that
unless he
finally
either
able to
dies
get
or
the
kills
attack
his
skill,
opponent,
because all previous skills were only auxiliary.
he's
The
not
fire
gonna
level
come
attack
down.
takes 10 mana units,
And even if
its
he did
maximum
come
is now
down, if the
100
guy is still
units,
alive,
which meant
he's
that he
probably
could
gonna
release
just
30
let the guy
such
kill him,
balls.
which
When
I
he
would
released the
not
fire,
let happen.
it was able to destroy a large rock. He was very surprised because this ball was incredibly intimidating for him, and now this skill was a personal trump card for him. But the guy thought that it was impossible to relax. But it turned out that at night the
And
safe
so-
zone was more dangerous than cold waves. And to see how things
Shisui would look at
he
me
entered
and
the
say,
handicap.
well, I guess you gotta work on Itachi's anger.
Wandered to some kind
And I'd
of
say,
forest.
no, not
But the
really.
ways
It's
walked
just,
by the river, and on the
wouldn't
other
you
side
be
there
pissed
were
if
level
when
10
you're just
time.
born,
It
you
was
had watched
impossible
your
to pass
older
through.
brother
Another
die
player
protecting
wrote that it was the same
in
in
your
the west,
family?
and they stopped here in a small group. Another
And
wrote that
Shisui
cold
would
waves
be shocked and
continuously
say,
cause
what do you
damage.
mean?
Player, he wrote that he didn't see any
And
response.
I'd say exactly as I said.
Players did not
There was
progress much
there was a third
the safe
brother.
zone is rather
Well, there was a
so no
third
matter which direction
sibling
it goes, the situation won't be much
inside
different. So the main task
that
for
used to
today
go
is to get
into
on
the
and
academy.
he realized that he hadn't
With
noticed the
us.
respawn points
Well,
either.
went to
And
the
he
academy
wondered if
with
it was
you,
really
since
impossible to
you're
be
older
reborn
than
after
us.
the death of the player. Then
And
this
she's
information
really
appeared on the
saying,
forum that goblins appeared in the safe zone. And their
what was his
indicators
name?
were as
I'd
follows:
say,
attack
oh, you
30,
mean Itachi's
defense
brother or the guy
HP
he's
100.
fighting?
They lived in
And he'd say, the guy he's fighting first,
to attack
and his
While the
brother's
guy
name.
was wondering what kind
And
of monsters could be inside the safe
I'd say,
zone,
well,
a
his
noise was
older
heard
brother's
behind him,
name.
and a monster jumped
Well,
out
the
of
guy
the
he's
bushes.
fighting
But the guy
to
quickly
is-
managed to react and stuck his spear into it. For the fact
His
that he
name
killed
is
the god
Tatsu
back, the level
Uchiha.
was raised to 4. For
And
the
his
fact that he
brother's
defeated
name
the monster
was-
for the first time, he received the achievement of the killer. If he kills 10 monsters, then he will get the title fighter and get the killing skill. The killing skill level is divine. There is a thirst for murder in his heart. Every time
His
he
name
kills,
was
he can get a
Kazuki
certain power to
Uchiha.
restore 0% of the
And he
damage
took
done.
Kazuki
And
died.
the force at the
And
moment
I said,
force one.
yeah.
And for the sake of safety, he burned the monster's body. But then the monster's body began to transform, turning almost like a human body. The elder was able to say save him and fell to the ground. Shion thought that the monster had burned down and turned into a human. And then a sign appeared that he had revealed the secret of the goblin. And now the quest has been activated that he has to catch one goblin alive. And the number of goblins in the dark at the moment is 99,999. The guy thought he should grab one goblin. Of course,
This
there
would
are a lot,
piss off.
but they are not so strong anymore, although they can attack first. And now there is no time to think. If he hesitates, he can fail his quest. It was written on the sign that he has a resistance to cold wave damage as well as 50% resistance to icy cold magic. Right now, the number of goblins was 31,444. While he was running around the field, there were already corpses of goblins and humans. Some groups of people still managed to catch one goblin by tying it on one of the rocks, and they decided to kill him. But then our hero stopped him for the fact that he fought with a man for the first time with a baton. He received the achievement of the Rutch Fighter Reason, and he was instructed to fight a man 10 times to get the title of King among fighters and get the skill of a master of wrestling. The man asked what he was doing here, to which Chuan apologized and asked them to give him this goblin because he really needed a live goblin. If she agrees, he will give him his armor in exchange. Noting that she was bronze, the man decided to give him the goblin and warned him that they had beaten him almost to death and he had lost a lot of blood, as he thought it would not be long. After assessing the situation, he realized that this goblin would not pull until the morning, and yet, having abandoned this venture, he went the other way, thanking the brute. The girls were wondering why he needed a live goblin, and then the goblin attacked him, ate him.
Get great gifts for Father's Day, like Nike favorites, self-care essentials, and more finds the love every day. Because Dad deserves the best. Now at Kohl's.
Size. Off-forming one player wrote that it seems to him that the murder is deep and gives a lot of experience. We don't have so many left. In response, he wrote to her that her hedgehog understood and he climbed them well. The trails stink terribly. Another player wrote that he
That was my uncle. They just came back from seeing my auntie's body.
He even wanted to
I did not know because
to which he was told to answer. It was necessary to change such armor more expensive than some monsters and wondered that he was a complete fool. The guy thought that maybe after killing the goblin, he began to smell somehow, and now they are bypassing him. And after seeing that the number of goblins that did not remain, he was a little upset that he did not have time. And then a parted number of goblins appeared in the task. The guy wondered if the system had created another
But
task.
I'm about to pause real quick because I'm about to drink some water, and I doubt you want to drink
There
that.
was a goblin. The big physique fighter tax did not harm
But,
him
to
anyways, since he had a
continue.
bronze armor. And he was
So what would happen
One of them said that he
is
heard someone took a bronze armor in exchange for a goblin visit, and then they wanted to attack him. But our main character was
What
able
would
to
happen
happily get out of there while killing the leader of the group. The official form said that a violent man had just robbed the Ranger Guild building. Another participant said that all the guild members were there, and he saw how he killed them armed with a spear. He also has such a high defense that no one could even break through it. When asked what his name was, some said they didn't have time to notice because he was moving fast. Su Chuan received the title of Savior for the fact that the mission was completed. He got a lot of experience points and got a new level. 3 were obtained, and the first equipment was a sharp iron sword, the second guard of the dungeon keeper, the third necklace of war. The characteristics of these equipment were as follows: Guardian Guard of the Dungeon, rare silver, required level 5, strength 15, protection 15. The Nameless Defender of the Bayah Dungeon, eternally real at the entrance of the dungeon. Necklace War, rare and silver, required level 5. Intelligence 4, maturity specially made for adventure lovers and recovery of 1% of its own per second. Sharp iron sword, rare bronze, required level 3 attack 110. A very sharp sword from the Shaft Dungeon. Chuan looked at the goblin and thought what good is he now? After entering his research stage, he became very concerned. But there must be some other secrets hidden. Judging by the past case, these goblins are formed of people. He was so sure that people turned to goblins.
put
He
it
was a little
high in
upset
the
that there was
sky,
not enough
put the
information.
teleport
Then I
back
decided to
to
find out what the other
But
participants were saying. But
why do you
almost everyone
still
was
claim that
discussing
short
it. It
village?
annoyed him a little. And then he noticed that many wrote that their partners, friends began to disappear. Su Chuan thought that this was not a coincidence and wondered if it was possible that one could be reborn after death in this game. And suddenly, a video was shown in the public where a human player frozen to death was filmed. One person came up to the frozen guy and said
that I can just give to other people. And plus,
added that he did
if
not
I
know
wanted
how
to
to
do
survive. But the frozen player's eyes turned red and the ice that covers his body began to crack and his skin turned bluish. While the man was talking to his subscribers on the screen, a frozen man attacked him and all this was filmed live. Seeing this, Zuchu got goosebumps from fear. He
and then
wondered why
once I
this frozen
finally
man was
showed them
attacking
that I could use chocolate,
Suddenly, a frozen man
I would've-
appeared from behind him. In the tavern,
I would've
it was
used
written
my
as a
powers
mutated
and
icy
stuff
chip. His level was
and
5.
made it to where
500
that
falls,
once
500
I
attack
showed
power,
them
500
my
frost
abilities,
sealed souls from
they
the
would have
world
instantly
lost.
made me the
Attack
Hokage
all
of the
visible
village.
legions and are afraid of underground
And then I would
storage
have just
sources.
kicked everyone out of the village who I didn't
And
like.
skill using a new
Sorry
sword
about that.
was able to chop off the monster's head with a single blow. For this, he received a lot
And
of experience points.
they'd be
That
hella
monster turned into a
confused.
days. For
And
this,
by
she will
they, I
receive
mean
10 points of luck. The opponent gets 50% more experience for 10 days, after which he will receive a bonus based on this amount. She will realize that zombies are also players. Kill zombies and revive
shocked
players.
that I said that.
And Kai
And some of them would even be low-key scared, so
he thought he needed to save a couple of
they'd
players
say
to get
nothing.
them to work for him.
And
The forum asked how
I'd
many
say,
level 5
well,
zombies.
this fight is
One
almost
participant
over.
said
And
that
he'd
you
say,
just
what do
have
you
to
mean?
run. Another one asked where to find a system that will allow
I'd say,
the
look.
location of underground.
And then he'd see Itachi, well, he'd activate his Sharingan, and that would help him see that Itachi had just activated his Mangekyo Sharingan and put the
Ground spiritual
Amaterasu
replied to him that he had
onto his blade,
but had not found
and
the
he was
spiritual
dashing at the guy
source.
who had sensed the Amaterasu
And is now no
and
longer
knows
afraid
that
of
it was
zombies.
dangerous
It
for
was
it
a
to touch
surprise
him.
to him that he was eating treasures underground in the safe zone. And that
But the guy thought it was just some type of weird KK Genkai that only Itachi had. And he didn't really think, oh, it may say it's dangerous, but it can't be that dangerous. So he'd take out his blade. It was a standard katana, and he'd dash at him, and he'd swipe. He'd swing his blade at him. And once their blades would connect, Itachi's blade would cut clean through his blade and cut him clean in half. And Itachi would snatch his eyes, then cut off his head and stab his blade into him, which would completely just turn into ash. Yes, I'm talking about Itachi's blade, because the Amaterasu burns into it. It completely disintegrates the person or object that it's on.
That half of the experience of revived players can be absorbed within 10 days. After hearing this, everyone abandoned
So,
the idea of entering the dungeon.
once Itachi stabbed the blade into him, the blade would disappear, turning into a pile of melted steel
After all, the game
and
is definitely not that simple.
black
It can't be
flames.
that the dead got more than the living and told you that it's better to dig more and look for other entrances. Not to mention that there are a lot of
And
treasures underground. So
I'd
when
look
we
at Shizu
and our hero
and say,
few
well,
hours
I
later
guess
was
it's
able
time to
kill
claim
a
our
few
weapons.
zombies. There were about
And he'd say, what do you mean?
And then
Say,
he
well,
suddenly
they're not
saw the
technically
underground
ours, we're
palace
just
was open.
returning
He
them.
thought that although
To
it
them,
was
they're
generally
ours.
correct to follow the instructions
And I'd
of the
walk up to
system,
Hashirama's blade and I'd put it into a scroll.
even the
And
location
Itachi would do
indicated
the
that
same.
maybe it's a trap.
And
there is no training in this game.
We
So
both
why is the
believe
offensive
with
detail
Shizu
very
would just
suspicious?
body
He
flicker
thought
us
it was
back
better
there
to return
because
to the camp first
Itachi was
and
low
sort
on
out the
chakra
situation.
and I
Beginning, he
didn't
burned
feel
the
like
fire
body
and looked at the
flicker.
goblin.
Plus,
Shizu thought that
Shizu
he
had
saw
just
what was
arrived
happening.
and was
First,
basically
no
full of
information
chakra.
about the secret of the
And I
goblin
didn't think
received
I
today.
need
The
to waste
interface
ki or
mission
chakra
still hasn't
by using
disappeared
instant
after its
transmission or
execution.
something.
This must be a long mission, he thought. And what if the conditions of fulfillment were the opening of
It's
the next
alright.
mission? And then he
Let me
saw
cook
the
that.
signs
But,
that he was getting points from the players. For this, he was glad that today was spent usefully.
I would look
He didn't
and I'd say,
understand the
so
mechanics of
Itachi,
the game, but he got a lot of experience.
how much fun
But we
did you
also
have
remember
during
that
that match? He'd
players
say,
had long gone to the dungeon, and then he thought, well,
none,
he gets experience
absolutely
for this.
zero.
Because
And
no
I'd
one
say,
was repeating
that's
the
not what it
form
looked
for a
like
long
from
time.
your face. You were
This dungeon was
smiling
really
like a
problematic.
maniac.
And then suddenly the
And
goblin
he'd
began
go,
to change, and he turned into a man. He asked for help, saying that he was a man. That player thanked him for not killing him in
Sorry.
goblin form. And then Shun saw an entry in the tablet that the hidden mission was a mutation in the underground palace of faith. But the mission description and the mission objective and the mission reward was unknown. The guy thought that this caused the next hidden mission and thought it was good that he didn't
and
kill
so
him. Shun said he
he'd
was not
go,
grateful,
so
but asked
why
he
did
became a
you
goblin.
not
The man bowed. Introducing himself, his name was
kill
and he was an ordinary resident
as
of
soon
the
as you saw
underground
him?
palace of faith.
And
At
I'd say,
first, the
Itachi,
underground
you
palace of
said
faith was needed in
not
order
to
attract
interfere.
brave men
This was
and
your
rewards.
battle.
He didn't know when it started,
And
but the bragging stopped
when my
coming.
friends
The sacred
ask me
flame
to
in the
not
temple also
interfere
began
on
to
their
fade.
turf
After the
with
sacred
their
flame
battles,
finally
I
went
don't.
out, many residents
And
turned
for the
into
simple
ice
reason
zombies because
of
they
I
could not stop
believed
the
it.
wave of frost
I
and
believed
black
that
fog.
you had it
Shun
in
thought
you
that the
to take
underground
him
palace was a
down,
beginner
and I
village,
didn't see
but
it
he was
necessary
interested in
for
what
me
kind
to
of
interfere.
situation there was now.
So I did.
Zombies have become not only NPS but also
And
players.
he'd
Is there a
be-
problem in the game?
he'd be
Then why did the
low-key
developers
kinda
not fix it?
happy
The
that
man
I said
continued
that,
his story, saying that
but
at
he'd
first
also
not so
be
many
kind of
residents had
disappointed.
But even in this case, they
And I'd say,
strong
yes, I
guards
know
around the
it was
palace
stupid
who
of
could
me
protect them.
not to
But when the wave of
intervene.
cold became stronger,
I knew you
guards
would
also
come out of that fight unscathed. Plus, he only had the 3 to move.
the source
up
became
in
gone.
one. He had the
And then
three Tomoe in one
Castle
eye,
became a haven for
and the
zombies
Mangekyo
and
in only
goblins.
one
Some
eye. He
goblins
didn't have
ran
it fully
outside.
mastered yet,
Legends
so
say
I
that
wasn't
the
really
light
scared,
curse, and
or
probably thanks to this,
I wasn't
he has now
really
regained his former appearance
worried
because
about
he
you
was
losing
unfolded
that
in the
fight.
sky. Shun thought that the player who entered the underground palace was very
And Itachi would say, and it also seemed like he was blind in the eye that he used his Mangekyo in. It was like he could barely see and sense it. And I'd say, by the way, deactivate yours before you go blind. You also have to get your eyes amputated by Madara. And then us who had already arrived back at the village where Madara would hear eyes amputated would say, so I'm assuming he fought that Uchiha and took his eyes and returned with our weapons.
The scroll is not enough, then maybe he will be interested in legendary level equipment. If he accepts his task, then Kyuro will give him this weapon. It was the Ring of the Lost Thunder, rarity gold, required level 10, physique plus 40, strength plus 40, agility plus 40, courage plus 40, special effects. This ring is the Lords of Thunder. He will be all over it by rushing thunder damage in the underground palace. The skill releases a lightning strike at enemies at a distance
But,
of no more than 500
basically, he
meters
would
and deals
look
600
at
points of
me,
damage.
and he'd say, so hand me the scrolls. And I'd say, well, Itachi has your scroll, and I'll just take this one to Hashirama.
As the player's level increases, the gold
Hashirama.
retains its value
Damn.
forever.
My bad, I keep burping while trying to say it.
But still refused. The underground palace is very dangerous, and he does not dare to enter there. She told him it was late and he can stay and rest. He can find another place in the morning. But the man began to turn into some kind of monster and said that if the warrior did not want to, he would not force him, but simply take his corpse there and jumped on him to attack him. But Chuan managed to react and plunged his sword into his body. The man was surprised that the guy said that the task was somehow unusual, and this is already suspicious. Besides, he did not hesitate and used rarities to lure him to the underground palace. Anyone in their right mind will feel a trick. Then I asked him who he was and why he came here. The evil goblin said that they all deserve death. Souls from other worlds should become food for the goblins that fell to the
So
ground.
I would look at,
and
and I'd say, so
he received
I'm gonna take this scroll to
and he
Hashirama.
received the armor of
Damn.
the guard of the underground palace, and
Hashirama.
also a sheepskin collar.
And
in the
he'd
end,
go,
he received the special item.
okay, that's okay.
Chuan cheerfully
But,
said, "The game really does not
did you
go
take
well
your
with
weapons
for killing a crusading PS,
And I'd
you
go,
can get a lot
yes,
of
I
useful
did.
things." And he also raised the
And
level
I'd
of
pull out a
the
katana
reservation of the
that
guard of the
was
underground palace
infused
was
with the weapon.
protection plus
Not like
O3
inside the weapon, but like they were like stuck to each other.
He began to
And
study
I
said
pulled
that
them
because
apart,
there was nothing
and then the
else to
timer
do,
on my
he
hand
decided to take a
disappeared.
break.
And Tachi would show his
Pay
new
more attention to the system.
miniature
And what
like
the
type of
NPCs said. The
katana.
next morning he learned
I
that
can't
the
remember
number of
the
survivors
name.
was 160,300.
Yeah, like the one he had when he was growing up. Yeah, he had another one of those. And like you know, like the blade Kakashi had. Yeah, that's basically the blade he has, except for like this one is just hella more durable, and he can infuse Amaterasu in it without it burning, and he can just put out the flames whenever he wants. Sorry if you like heard that hella loud. I was like,
The central square of the
but
city. Because it's a little strange.
I'd look and I'd say, so Itachi will give you your scroll, and then you can just put these eyes into his sockets, or however you Uchiha do this. And I'll take this to Hashirama, and I'll inform him that I finally removed the weapon that was outside of his weapon, and that he can just use his weapon now to its full extent. And Hashirama would appear saying, no need, and he just asks for the scroll. I'd hand it to him, and he'd summon the weapon. And he'd pull it, like the hilt would come out of the scroll, and he'd grab it, pulling out his long berserker type sword.
At first, all the players did not understand whether they should kill each other. But
Bro, is that bootleg Vegeta in the background? My bad. I saw. I'm watching a manual, and they had a bootleg, like it was legit Vegeta in the background. Hold on, I'm about to take a picture. I'll just I'll put it as not the thumbnail. Yeah, I'll put it as the thumbnail for this video. since I haven't really picked out a thumbnail for this series yet.
I'm moderate to severe. Attacked him with her sword, but Chuan was able to block his attack.
And so I think to myself, I'd say, well, I'd say out loud, I'd go,
Had already entered the
hey,
underground battles yesterday,
by the way,
but it
Hashira,
seems that not everyone has dropped out. Then a
what
sign came
what
up
will
in
you
front of
do
him
now
that
that you
says,
have your weapon?
"Beginners is
And he'd say,
1,000.
first,
The number of survivors
I'll need
is
you
1,000.
and Itachi to do something, but that's only after he heals.
And at the bottom of the
And I'd ask him what, and he'd say, I'll tell you once he heals. And this is where I'm gonna leave this part off. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, please leave a like and subscribe, because I just wanted to say that I just made this part because I needed to make up for forgetting to complete the Tanjiro series, but I was just hella tired when I returned home, and I did not have it in me to finish that story. But I'll try to get it out by either Monday or so, because I also gotta finish the rest, and I don't post on the weekends, even though this not a weekend, it's Friday, you know. And yeah, I just hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you later.